Albert Einstein once said, "The world will not be destroyed by those who do evil, but by those who watch them without doing anything." You may consider yourself an intelligent person, but if you still stay silent in the next 4 situations, then, according to Einstein's perspective, you might be acting foolishly. These aren't just moments to test your intelligence. They are moments that reveal your courage, your values, and your true strength as a human being. Don't skip this. You might have missed them your whole life without even realizing it. Einstein once said, "I'm not that smart. I just stay with the questions longer." This simple statement holds a powerful truth. The foundation of intelligence isn't about always having the answers, but about being brave enough to keep asking the right questions. Yet in many moments we hesitate. We fear looking foolish, exposing our lack of knowledge, or interrupting the flow. But when you let shyness silence your curiosity, you're not just avoiding discomfort. You're choosing ignorance over growth. True learning doesn't happen when we pretend to understand. It begins the moment we raise our hand, lean in and say, "I don't get it." The greatest minds in history weren't afraid to admit what they didn't know. In fact, their breakthroughs came precisely because they questioned what others blindly accepted. Being shy to ask is like locking the door on your own potential. You might survive in silence, but you'll never grow. And here's the deeper danger. When you don't ask, you also don't connect. Questions create dialogue. They lead to understanding, to innovation, and to human connection. When you withhold your questions, you not only rob yourself of clarity, but you also rob the room of deeper thought. Sometimes, the question you're too shy to ask is the one everyone else is afraid to voice. So next time you hesitate, remember this. Questions are not signs of weakness. They are signs of strength, of curiosity, and of courage. If Einstein could admit he didn't know, what excuse do the rest of us have? Real learning doesn't begin with answers. It begins with the boldness to ask. Admitting mistakes is one of the hardest things to do, especially when pride whispers, "Stay quiet." But Einstein once said, "A mistake repeated more than once is a decision." That simple truth exposes a deeper reality. When we're too shy to admit where we went wrong, we aren't just avoiding embarrassment. We're actively choosing stagnation over growth. Mistakes are not a sign of weakness. They are proof that you had the courage to try. But what truly defines you is what you do after the fall. Progress begins the moment you own your failure. When you're too shy to say, "I was wrong," you rob yourself of the lesson hidden inside the misstep. Every error carries a message. If you ignore it, you'll keep repeating the same cycle, trapped in patterns you pretend not to see. But if you have the courage to confront it, your mistake becomes a stepping stone, not a setback. The irony is this: the people who seem the most perfect often grow the least because they're too afraid to look imperfect. But those who admit their flaws, even in front of others, unlock real strength. Vulnerability isn't shameful. It's powerful. It's how we evolve. Einstein didn't avoid mistakes. He embraced them as part of the process. That's why he moved forward, while others stood still. If you're constantly hiding your errors, ask yourself, are you protecting your image or protecting your future? Growth doesn't require perfection. It requires honesty, humility, and the bravery to face yourself without flinching. So don't be shy about your mistakes. Be bold enough to admit them, and wise enough to learn from them. Einstein once said, "Don't live as a person, live as a personality." That quote strikes at the heart of what most people are too afraid to admit. They're scared to stand out. Being different often means facing judgment, discomfort, or even isolation. But the moment you shrink yourself to fit into a mold, you begin to vanish. You trade authenticity for approval, and in doing so, you slowly lose the very thing that makes you valuable, your identity. When you're shy to be different, you silence your originality in order to echo the crowd. But what the world remembers, what history respects, are the voices that refuse to be copies. Think of every innovator, every creator, every icon you admire. None of them were trying to blend in. They embraced the discomfort of being seen as odd, too much, or too different. And that's exactly why they left a mark. Einstein didn't follow conventional paths. He challenged them. If he had been shy about his strange ideas, the world might never have seen the genius behind them. Greatness never comes from imitation. It comes from honoring what sets you apart. And while it might feel easier to play small or conform, that comfort comes at a cost: your true self. So if your instincts pull you in a direction others don't understand, listen. If your style, thoughts, or passions don't match the crowd, trust them. Being different isn't a flaw, it's your fingerprint. Your power lies in your uniqueness, not your ability to blend. Don't be shy about being different. Be bold enough to stand alone, and you'll discover the strength that only authenticity can bring. Einstein once warned, "The world won't be destroyed by those who do evil, but by those who watch and do nothing." These words carry a deep truth. Silence in the face of wrongdoing is not neutrality, it's complicity. When you're too shy to speak the truth, especially when it matters most, you allow lies and injustice to gain ground. In trying to avoid discomfort, you unintentionally give your power away. And worse, you hand it over to the very forces that need to be challenged. Speaking the truth doesn't always require volume. It requires courage. It means standing firm when others would rather look away. Whether it's confronting a personal betrayal, calling out unfairness, or even admitting a hard truth to yourself, your voice is a weapon against decay. When you stay silent, hoping to avoid conflict or rejection, you might feel safe for a moment, but in the long run, it's your integrity that suffers. Truth-telling is uncomfortable. That's why so few dare to do it. But history has shown time and again, real change begins when one person decides to speak, to stand, to act. Bravery isn't about being aggressive or confrontational. It's about being honest, even when your voice shakes. And the truth, once spoken, has a ripple effect. It can wake people up. It can heal. It can expose darkness and bring clarity. So don't be shy to speak up. Don't mistake silence for peace. Your truth might be the light someone else needs to find their own. Because, in the end, the biggest danger isn't what's done in the shadows. It's the silence that lets it stay there. The truth is, age doesn't silence your voice. Fear does. And Einstein's wisdom reminds us that silence in the face of truth, mistakes, or individuality is the real loss. Whether you're 60 or 90, it's never too late to ask questions, admit your truths, stand out, or speak up. Every time you choose courage over comfort, you teach others, especially the younger generation, what real wisdom looks like. So now we ask you, which of these 4 situations have you struggled with most in your life? Leave a comment below and share your experience. Your story might be the lesson someone else needs today. And if this message resonated with you, don't just keep it in your heart. Like, share, and subscribe. Because the world needs more voices like yours. Honest, wise, and unafraid.